Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Well, as promised, I'm going to be working on the 151. This is a Stanley spoke shave, and it's got a couple of nice features. It's a newer model. Newer model is relative. It was designed in the early part of the last century. One of the cool features that I see in it is it has an adjustment to allow you to line up the cutter. The tapping and tightening and tapping and tightening, that really drives me nuts. I have a hard time getting them to hold in position, and then if I use them very roughly, they're out of position again and they just don't want to stay. This one should take care of that. Never had one of these before, and this one really needs a lot of work before it's going to be useful. So let's get started. First thing I want to do, clean up the blade a little bit and get it ready to get sharpened. Okay, I have it anchored in place. That's a 180 grit diamond plate, and I can see that I'm hitting fairly well out here and not much up there. Now we're starting to come out here to the edge. That's good. I don't want to have to take a whole lot of material off of this blade thickness. But at the same time, if you look at the front edge of this blade is usually, a new blade is going to be a 1/4 inch longer than this one. So I don't have a whole lot of blade left to work with. So I don't want to grind this back to get to that clean part. I want to smooth up this back part and get rid of the pits as much as I can by going this direction rather than shortening it anymore. I'm going to raise this up a bit so I don't have to hunch over quite so much. With this thin stone in there, I've lost a good inch on the height of the fixture. But because I've put this block on there, I'm able to clamp it in the vise at different heights. Lets me move it back and forth. Now I suppose it might be nice to spend some time and make a really nice thing to hold the stones, but I don't think it's going to be worth it. I spend more time making fixtures than I do sharpening with it, and it's just going to get all dirty and messed up. So having it be a beautiful fixture to hold a diamond stone while I get it all covered with crap just doesn't seem to make any sense. A little bit more to go. Now I don't need to take all of it off with this 180 grit, because some of it's going to come off with the 260 and the 360 too. And if I take it down to the point where it shines all the way out to the edge with the 180, that just means I'm going to have to take it further down to get rid of the marks from the 180. So I want to stop just short. Now, what level of just short should I stop at? Well, that's one of those things that you just kind of guess at and go along with. And I think I'm there. Now I'm going to shine up this side just because I've got the stone there. Doesn't really make any difference to the cutting action of the blade. I think that's close enough. Now this yellow one is a 260, and these are from Harbor Freight. They're not really great diamond plates, but for taking down the initial roughness, they work just fine. And you can see that I'm almost completely out to the edge. I got some little bit of pitting right there on the right hand side. I'll take as much of that as I can out with this stone, and then some of that will go away as I put the bevel back into it. Trying to save as much steel as I possibly can, because even though I can make a new blade, I don't want to. Doesn't take anywhere near as long with the 260 as it did with the 180, because I don't have to do the initial rough stuff. All I'm doing is taking out the scratches from the 180. You can see those pits are almost gone there. I left my water stone soaking while I was doing the coarse stones. So now I'll lock it into the fixture. I had tried using the spray bottle and it didn't work, so I did some research. Found out the thing I was doing with the spray bottle was I was not getting the stone wet completely through. I needed to leave it soak. I looked at a Paul Sellers video on sharpening spoke shave blades, which he had some good ideas on there, but one of the things that I really picked up on was I needed to have the water stone soak in the water. And as you can see, I'm building up a nice slurry on the top of it. It's doing a much better job. And I don't have to work one-handed while I'm using the spray bottle with the other. Well, that's interesting. Didn't realize it, but this is a laminated blade. You can see the line going across the blade right there. So this is an old blade. They put tool steel on the front edge, and this is softer steel back here. Much older spoke shave than I thought it was. I'm going to have to check, but I think this must be pre-1940. Because after World War II, they had much better ways of making steel. So they didn't need to spend so much time laminating the steels together, because the tool steel was cheap enough from their new processes that they were able to make it quite easily. I'm right-handed, so I'm tending to push a little harder on the right-hand side of the blade. That means this surface gets polished a little bit more than this surface. So I'm going to double up on that side. See if I can't get it to cut it a little faster, even that out. There, that's getting it. I only have to do this once, flattening the back, and it's a much more material to be removed than doing the bevel, so it takes a lot longer. But fortunately, you really only have to do it once, because from then on, when you sharpen the bevel, you go back into the nice flat edge. And if you take care of your tools, it shouldn't be all pitted, so you shouldn't have to remove any pits out of the back. Just a little bit more. This is a case where perfection is necessary. I have to go all the way out to the edge, otherwise doing 99% of the edge won't get me where I want to be. So I have to have 100%. I have to be completely out to the edge. And perfection is one of those goals that it gets harder to get to the closer you get to it. Yep, we're frosted all the way out to the edge. Well, it's polishing up. get out my little handle that I made up here. It does make some clicking noises, but makes it so that I can lay into this a lot harder. Now we're starting to get a polish to it. I think we're good. Now Paul used a slightly different way of holding his blade, and I think it worked better than this one. This one worked fine for the curved blade because I had to pretty much do that with hand stones. Paul made up a handle because he said you needed a lot of finger strength to be able to sharpen a spoke shave blade. Well, I'm going to try it the old-fashioned way first, just because I don't want to take the time to make a handle right now. That's better. Get to use more of the stone. I won't be wearing a groove right there in the center. Checking it out with a hand glass, I can see I got a nice line all the way across the end of the blade. Now I've got it set about 30 degrees. 25 to 30 probably is good. At least that's the recommendation of all the pros. I think if I went any flatter than that, I wouldn't be able to use the stone. I think if I went any flatter than that, I wouldn't be able to use this little jig. And the jig isn't a critical thing, but it does make life a lot easier. If I can use it, I'm gonna. She's a beauty. Well, I think I got a good edge on there. Sharp as a razor. So that's how I sharpen a blade for a Stanley 151. There's better ways, there's worse ways. That's my way. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. I think the nail apron helped. I've found that I've got a whole lot of dirt on the front of these shirts.